Nuno Espirito Santo was sacked on Monday. Antonio Conte was appointed as manager on Tuesday. It's almost like a Craig David song at Tottenham Hotspur this week. With Unai Emery also looking close to getting the Newcastle job at the time of writing. It's certainly all going off in the Premier League. We're looking ahead to game week 11. Kicks off on Friday night. And also stay tuned for Fantasy Premier League Insights, where we take the betting odds and try to apply them to some kind of logic to give you an insight into who to put in your fantasy football team for this coming week and future weeks. Let's kick off with the tips and predictions. We'll start off on Friday night. St Mary's is the destination. Southampton take on Aston Villa. The Saints are obviously favourites for this game, considering they're in much better form than their opponents. We're going to go for both teams to score, yes. Aston Villa have lost their last 4 matches, but they have scored in all of those games. Probably a little bit unlucky along the way, especially when they were 2-0 up against Wolves, only to lose 3-2 in that game. They're certainly capable of a goal or two. Ollie Watkins got back on the score sheet against West Ham. If you want bigger odds, maybe go for Southampton and both teams to score, but we think there will be goals on the cards. BTCS, yes, is our overall pick there. Manchester Derby on Saturday lunchtime. We're quite surprised that Manchester United are a big price. They've got a pretty good track record in the Manchester Derby and won't put you off having a tentative wager on the Red Devils, despite the fact that there hasn't been a great deal of love for them on this video this season. However, the bet that we're leaning towards is under 2.5 goals. That might sound a bit strange, but if you look at the last 5 matches between the two rivals, you'll see that it's been under 2.5 in all of those games. United have tightened things up by putting Varane alongside Lindelof and Maguire at the back. Could be no core to give him. Might even be a goalless draw this game, but we'll go under 2.5 goals and hope that both defences manage to shut each opponent out effectively. The next game takes place between Brentford and Norwich. But at the start of the season, you would have been surprised to see odds of only just slightly bigger than 1-2 about the Bees winning this game, but that's more a reflection on how poor Norwich have been this season. They've lost 4 of their 5 games and they failed to score away from home this season as well. So I'm not sure about Brentford on the full-time result market, but Brentford to win 0 could be a decent play at bigger odds. Daniel Farke really is seemingly drinking in last chance saloon, although the board have continued to stick with him. I think Brentford have shown enough about them at home this season, and they'll be looking to bounce back after a couple of defeats, which seen them have a mini slump. So yeah, Brentford's win 0 will be our tentative selection here. Chelsea take on Burnley at Stamford Bridge. Burnley were really good against Brentford last week. Maxwell Cornet is making a big difference for the Clarets, and the Zambian might offer a few problems for Chelsea, but Thomas Tuchel's side are pretty much as robust as a win 0 pick get, and so we think that's probably the best way to play that. That copped last week away to Newcastle. In the last 3 matches, I think that Chelsea have managed to win 0 in Premier League, and they will have had a relatively comfortable Champions League game against Malmo, which will set them up nicely for this game. So a win 0 for Chelsea there. Next game is between Palace and Wolves at Selhurst Park. Really tricky to try and find the right betting angle here. I like both teams in this match. I think Palace have been pretty excellent this year under Patrick Vieira, who's Roy Hodgson was a difficult act to follow, but Vieira's done exceptionally well, I think. And the win at Manchester City last week was really impressive. Wolves similarly have, considering they lost their first 3 matches, Wolves have got an excellent points total so far. We think that the draw could be a good runner in this game. Probably the best draw bet out on the whole Premier League coupon. The Eagles have drawn 4 of their 5 matches and won the other one, so they are unbeaten at home. They are a bit of a home draw specialist. Wolves have been pretty smart on the road. They've won 3 of the last 5 games, although that win at Villa was somewhat fortuitous. So, yeah, we just think that they're similarly matched teams in this sort of match, and a 1-1 draw or a 2-2 draw could well be on the cards here. Similarly, we're going to go for the draw between Brighton and Newcastle, despite the fact that Newcastle are a pretty bad team at the moment. Part of the reason is that Graham Jones will want to make them pretty solid if he's still in caretaker charge. And if Unai Emery does somehow take charge of Newcastle between now and the time of the game, he will also want to steady the ship and get a point on the board. Would be a good outcome for the Magpies here. Brighton, interestingly, have not won any of their last 6 matches, despite the fact they drew 2-2 with Liverpool last weekend. They have only won 2 of their 5 matches at the Amex Stadium as well. We don't necessarily feel confident backing them at odds on for a game such as this one. I think that Newcastle got a draw at Crystal Palace in their last away game and could easily wangle a point in this one. Next, we're going to the Emirates Stadium where Arsenal take on Watford, and we're going to have a bet on Arsenal -1.5, which means we're predicting that the Gunners will win by 2 goals or more against Watford. The Gunners are looking a bit more like top 6 material under Mikel Arteta right now. They're scoring plenty of goals and should be a class above a Hornets side who flattered to deceive when winning 5-2 at Everton. They did trail twice in that game, and it was more to do with the poor defensive mistakes from the Toffees, which led to Watford running riot right at the end of that game. But we think that there'll be clear daylight between the two teams in this match. And Emile Smith-Rowe is looking very sharp along with Bukayo Saka. Gabriel adds some more steel to the defence, and Aaron Ramsdale is now making that goalkeeper spot his own for Arsenal. So a 2-goal margin of victory or better. So Arsenal -1.5 on the handicap. Everton take on Tottenham, Antonio Conte's first match in charge of Spurs. We're going to have a small bet on Tottenham to win this game. They are slight betting favourites, and it's partially to do with the fact that Conte's taking over and might immediately get a tune out of a Spurs squad who've got plenty of decent players and certainly a better squad than Everton right now, especially as Everton are missing so many key players. They were without Mina, Doucouré and Calvert-Lewin on Monday night against Wolves. They looked so poor in the first half, marginally better in the second, but this is a game for the taking for Tottenham as they bid to kickstart their season after the poor sort of start under Nuno. Leeds take on Leicester at Ellen Road. We're going to go for both teams to score yes in this match. That's happened in all of Leicester's 5 away matches this season. It's happened in 4 out of 5 Leeds home games. It seems like an absolute no-brainer. Both teams are not great defensively. Leicester, especially on the road, they've had some high-scoring games already. So yeah, BTCS yes here just seems a logical play. Neither team can be trusted to win. Slightly leaning towards the Foxes, but not enough to back them. And then we come to the final Premier League game of the weekend at the London Stadium. West Ham look quite a big price to beat Liverpool in this game. Liverpool have shown some defensive frailties this season despite the return of Virgil van Dijk. They did a 3-3 draw at Brentford and they were slightly lucky to win away at Atletico Madrid, who came back into the game. We're going to have a bet on West Ham on the full-time result market and probably more confident in West Ham or the draw on the double chance. West Ham have won their last 3 matches. They are in such a good place at the moment. We're not sure they're too far behind Liverpool in terms of what they're doing on the pitch, and certainly that's reflected in the league table where they're only 2 points behind the Reds. We know all about Liverpool's attacking capability, and obviously they demolished United 5-0 at Old Trafford, but West Ham certainly won't be that sort of pushover, and David Moyes' side are in with a squeak. I don't expect him to play a particularly strong team against Genk in the Europa League, so that's where we're leaning towards there. Also, as I said, we're going to give you a few fancy Premier League pointers based on the match prices for this weekend if you're looking to make a transfer or two. Chelsea are the shortest price on the betting coupon when they take on Burnley. You can't have failed to notice that the fullbacks, Ben Chilwell and Reece James, who weren't initially in the team at the beginning of the season, have come in and they're both making a scoring impact there. Also, Mason Mount, if he's available, he got a hat-trick against Norwich in the team's previous home match with the 7-0, so he could be worthy of consideration there. Arsenal are obviously a team to start following, given their upturn in form. They have a number of different options. Aaron Ramsdale's a fairly cheap goalkeeper pick if you were looking to change your goalkeeper position. I know a lot of you don't like to do that. Obviously, Aubameyang is on penalties and looks a class act, but Smith-Rowe is the guy who's getting the most points for his relative value at the moment, and he is definitely worth consideration. Brentford, if you think Brentford are going to do well against Norwich and they are trading at a short price, then you might consider Ivan Toney or Brian Mbeumo. Neither of them are pulling up any trees right now, but Brentford have got 2 easy looking games coming up, and that could be worth a cheap play for one of those two players. The final Fantasy Premier League pointer is obviously the fact that Antonio Conte has taken charge of Tottenham, and it's pretty good timing for the Italian considering that Spurs have got a nice run of fixtures coming up. Away to Everton might not look great, but we've seen Rafa Benitez's side look defensively frail, and then Tottenham have got the next 4 matches after that. 3 of them are at home against modest opposition. It goes without saying that Harry Kane and Son Heung-min are the 2 players to watch from an attacking point of view. They've both been excellent value in Fantasy Premier League over the past few seasons, and there's no reason to suggest this will change now that Tottenham have got the manager that they wanted. This could be a good way to kickstart your FPL season if your team's flagging, a little bit like mine, and I did actually put Kane in 2 weeks ago, so hopefully that pick will end up reaping the dividends. So there we have it. Those are the Whatacca predictions for Premier League Game Week 11, along with some fantasy Premier League pointers. Head to whatacca.com this week. You'll see lots of predictions and tips going live. Make sure you signed up for the email. We hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you have. And we'll be in touch soon with another video looking ahead to the next round of matches. All the best, guys. Cheers.